Namaste and a very good evening, everyone. Organic food. It always makes us question its authenticity and is generally considered expensive. Gautam PB, founder of Healthy Buddha, Organic Farm to Kitchen e-store, has joined to share his experience and learning through which we may find solutions to the real organic food dilemma. Hi, Gautam, and warm
Hi.
welcome to Conscious Eating series. Organic food is a very sensitive topic as it questions trust, affordability, and accessibility. Would you take us through your journey when you started in 2014 till now, and how have these 6 years been for you?
Okay. Thanks, Abba, for having me here. It's a pleasure to share my views and thoughts around this topic, something which is very close to me. Um, so I'll start with why did we start? For that, I need to trace back about 6 years back, which is when we started. In fact, I need to trace back much earlier. My father is an organic farmer himself.
Mhm.
He has been a farmer for about 20 years now. He grows in outskirts of Chennai. Uh, so I'm used to eating good food growing up. And so he used to run these small farmers market every Sunday. He used to call it Sunday Shandy. He used to call it. Even now it exists. Um, so when I was in my college time, I used to write bills for them and stuff like that. So it used to be a place where many farmers used to come. So the objective of his was to promote organic farming. This is I'm talking in late 1990s, right when it was still catching on. People were still didn't know much about it. So having seen that, fast forward, I went on to do my MBA, went on to get a corporate life and so on, got married, got kids. Then fast forward, when I had my own kids and I was living in Bangalore, I used to work in Capgemini then. Um, I used to struggle to get some good quality food, which is chemical free. And at the same time, I used to see many of my father's contact, many of my who are farmers, not able to get a good price or not able to get a good avenue to sell that produce. So I saw a clear disconnect in terms of on one side you have farmers who wanted to sell, who are very passionate about it and wants to sell their produce. On the other side, you don't have customers like me who don't have access to good quality produce. So that's
Mhm.
when I thought there is clearly a need for such in the market, and we should drive it. So that's when I quit my job, and along with my old friend of mine, Anurag, we both started Healthy Buddha in 2014.
Okay.
So I literally started that in my drawing room in Whitefield. We started with 5 customers. We do about 2,000 customers in a 6,000, 7,000 square feet warehouse in Maratali now. So
Mhm.
that's where we are. Uh,
Okay. Can you see any visible change in, like, since you started in the preferences of customers going organic, and what, like, which is the most bought food type, like when they are shifting from the conventional to the organic, which is the most common food which they switch over to?
okay. So before I get into that question, I want to first address a basic question, which is what is organic, right? Most
Mm,
people have this quite a bit confused in terms of what is organic. Uh,
mm,
each one has a definition and so on. See, ideally, organic means no chemical is used at any form,
mm,
all the phases of growing, be it right from the seed to growing to then post-harvest, storage, and then finally delivery. So ideally, no chemical should be used at any form. You can call it whatever you want. You can call it natural farming. You can call it zero budget natural farming, spiritual farming, biodynamic farming, whatever you call it. But the fundamental key thing is no chemical should be used in the soil, or no chemical should be used in any form during the growing process. Uh, so that is what organic truly is. Um, so on your question on do you see a visible change? Yes, I do see a visible change. People are getting more conscious. They want to give chemical-free produce for their kids, their family. They don't want to. So as the people awareness keeps increasing, I do see a lot more people from when we started 6 years back to now. A lot more people wanting to get access to good quality produce, which is trustworthy. And so your question, follow-up question was which produce is it? What was that?
Yeah, so when we talk about dairy, fresh produce, pulses, dals, which is the
Right.
most sought for food that people would like to switch to organic?
See, most people typically they typically start with greens and vegetables, and then slowly they move on to fruits and non-perishables and so on. But yes, so typically most, I would say from a producer perspective, what a customer should look for when it's organic is typically, yes, greens, yes. Greens can be quite abused in conventional growing. Two can also be likes of cauliflower and cabbage. Quite a bit of pesticides get added or chemicals gets added during the growing process. In fact, I remember one of my farm visits in one of the village. I happened to go around a farm where they're growing cabbage. As soon as I entered near the farm, I got a big headache. It was like it had such strong pesticide smell on it. And imagine if you enter the farm itself, you can get that kind of smell. You're going to be eating the produce that's got laden with so much poison in it. So it's definitely not good for you. And especially likes of cabbage and cauliflower, it's quite a bit abused in the conventional market. Even things like strawberries, pomegranate, these are all grapes. These are all ones slightly difficult to grow without chemicals, and people tend to take the shortcut of growing it the conventional way. But every chance you get, you should go for organic for these.
Okay. So, what are the main challenges that the customer face when they are going through this transition of conventional to organic?
See, one is yes, if you are not aware of what is organic and you're just going because everyone else is going, then you're going to have a first mindset issue of the price. Because organic is expensive. Whatever we say, however we try, it is expensive because it does cost more to produce good quality organic produce compared to your conventional one. So one is you need to get over your mindset of the price factor. Most people can easily afford it in our, at least in our urban setup where middle class and upper middle class can afford it. It's just that we are tuned to paying only so much for a tomato, onion, or a potato. When we suddenly see the price 30% more or 40% more, we feel scammed. We feel that maybe a scam is running and these guys are just buying off the market and giving it at a higher price. So one is the mindset. Second is you should be able to buy produce which are seasonal in nature. Instead of just buying, expecting an apple to be available all through the year or grapes to be available all through the year. Because nature has not intended to be that way. So each, especially on the fruit side, each fruit has its season and it comes and goes. You can't expect it to be available all through the year. And it's much more tastier if you if you eat seasonal fruit, and much more healthier compared to eating non-seasonal ones. These two, yeah, and then storage. If you're new to organic, and I would highly recommend you not to store too much at a time. Because they do tend to get spoiled a little faster. And also if you're buying non-perishables, they do catch insects quite a bit within 3 weeks or 4 weeks, unless you store it in really airtight containers. Yeah, broadly, these three would be a transition someone will need to go through when they come new to organic. I want to address two more things also. One is in terms of myths around organic. So there is a big, let me ask you about, as per you, organic produce should be small or big?
So I have always related to anything that is seasonal to my childhood. And when I was growing, I always used to, get the small vegetables like say beans or bhindi, and even the fruits were not so huge. Uh, but slowly, when I like got married and I started buying my own vegetables and fruits, I saw like everything was of the same size and they were huge. And these are the conventional. That time I didn't know what organic is. I never used to buy organic fresh produce. So yeah, so I've always
Right.
related to it more on a traditional way, like what I have seen when I was growing up.
Right. See, that is a popular general perception that organic will be small only. Many people have that perception. Uh, it is not necessarily the case. I want to tell you. Um, it boils down to how well the farmer takes care of the soil and what he feeds into the soil. It's like, plant is similar to your baby. If you give it good food, it will give you good output. A baby will grow fast, right? Same way, if you give it good nutrients to the soil, the plant will grow well, and the output that it produces will be much healthy and healthier looking compared to a small looking. So it is not necessary, unless the variety is such that it will be small. Let's say a small bitter gourd, right? That is it's typically a nutty variety which is small in size. But other than those varieties thing, it's not necessarily the case that produce has to be small only in organic. In fact, what I've seen is, for instance, cabbage. Typically, when you're starting to initial days of organic farming, your produce tend to be small because your soil is not as fertile. But as you grow over the years, typically the fertility of the soil becomes much higher and better, and then the produce that comes from it is bigger in size. Like I was just talking to one of my other farmer the other day. The cabbage 3 years back that he used to give me used to be like 300 grams or 350 grams. Now the cabbage that he gives me is 1.3 kgs. It is from the same
Oh.
farm.
Mhm.
And many times, in fact, my customers will ask me, "Are you sure is this organic?" So I've not seen such big produce, but it boils down to how well the farmer takes care of the soil and how he feeds it, and the output that comes. And that's a great part of organic farming, right? It's not necessary that uh, like as the time goes, the soil becomes better and better, and the output becomes better. And it's the reverse in conventional farming. So as the time goes, your soil fertility decreases in conventional farming because you're abusing the soil and the land with a lot of chemicals.
Correct, correct. Mhm.
So one is that, and second is the I think we can talk about the expensive part. So why is it expensive? Uh,
Sorry, I think I'm
go to the
losing. Yeah, just a second. Let's see. Yeah, Gautam, are you here? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear.
Okay, okay. Yeah. Yeah, so you were saying something about
No,
expensive.
no, I was asking any questions on what we have spoken so far before we, if I will talk about the why is it expensive part of it.
Yeah, so when we are talking about fresh produce, there are other important uh, products, organic products like dairy, and when we talk about non-perishable, the dals and pulses. So, dairy, what do you think with the conventional, the commercially when the dairy is, the milk is produced versus the organic milk, what is the difference in both? Like why we should be going for organic milk and not the conventional milk, which is like 20 or 25 rupees a packet.
See, there is a big, the whole dairy is a debatable topic. There is one school of thought who are vegans
Mm.
who believe in plant-based diet. They say you should not drink milk, should not consume dairy products. On the other side, you
Mhm.
have many people who say you should. It's okay to consume. So I'm not going to get into that debate for now. I will talk about the organic element to it. See,
Yeah.
my personal view is that even within milk, you have different further subdivision in terms of milk from hybrid cows and milk from Indian breed cows, which we call it as
Yeah.
A2, right? Which became quite popular in the last few years thanks to the whole issue that happened in Tamil Nadu. So,
Mm.
broadly, I recommend, and we also sell in Healthy Buddha, only A2 milk and the A2 milk byproducts. We don't recommend or sell milk from hybrid cows. Typically, for those who are not familiar, hybrid cows are those which got imported long time back, and they produce A1 protein in the milk, and Indian cows have the A2 beta protein in their milk, which is they say is closest to A2 protein milk is closest to man's like human milk. So it's much more healthier and much more adaptable for us to drink it versus the A1 milk. So from that perspective, yes, A2 is definitely better. Two is I would also say you should go for raw milk instead of pasteurized milk, because most of the good stuff goes away when it's pasteurized. So that's on the milk.
Okay. And non-perishable, so whenever I buy anything, whether it is locally sourced, so every packet has this certification. So I have this packet. If I will just show. So it has this USDA, what is this? Jaivik Bharat. So these are like different organic certifications. What do they mean?
Okay, see, certification is another tricky topic in India. Yes, as a layman, you have to depend on something. So you need some reference to prove that whether it's organic or not. So it does play a role. So if you have to select, like what is USDA is basically a US based organic certification body. And India, it's India Organic. Broadly, these two are the two certification bodies we have. Jaivik is basically is a recent thing that's come up from FSSAI, where you say Jaivik logo also you add, similar to the way you have your green dot, right? Similar to that, you can add this Jaivik V logo in branded organic certified products. So typically, broadly, you have these two certifying agency. So that's how it works.
Okay. So as I'm a home baker, so I always, look for the cold pressed oils. Then when it comes to dairy, or dairy we have already covered, cold pressed oils and the polished versus unpolished pulses or grains or
Right.
rice. So, like, just on the whole, if you could just take us through, we will not go in depth because this is another wide topic. Why cold pressed oils? Why unpolished grain? Or why raw sugar or cane sugar? Why should we choose that
Okay.
against the refined oil or the refined sugar?
Okay. So first, if you ask me, I would say I should not even use sugar. I should use jaggery, because sugar has zero nutrients in it. At least jaggery has some nutrient in it. I personally don't take sugar. I take only jaggery, and
Okay.
it's definitely much healthier option. But yeah, both might have same level of calories, but at least it's much healthier option compared to sugar, which is bleached with various chemicals in a regular market. And then in terms of grains, yes, definitely. What is that? The unpolished is any day better than polished, because it goes through some level of removing the fibers out of it to make it polished and shiny. So more natural we take, better it is. And between refined and cold press, definitely cold press is any day better, because refined means by itself means it goes through a chemical process of refining the oil. Cold press means it's extracted without much heat getting generated. It's basically a cold press method of generating the oil without any heat. So it's much healthier, and it retains more nutrients compared to a refined oil. So in fact, in Healthy Buddha, we don't even sell any refined oil. We sell only cold pressed oils.
Okay. Okay. So with your experience, like you being yourself being a farmer and your father being a farmer and going through the journey of Healthy Buddha, if someone cannot afford to switch like 100% organic, what foods would you recommend them that they should be switching over, which are like really harmful for someone's health?
Okay.
Like say highly adulterated and chemically treated food. And this I'm talking about the grocery and not even the processed food, which is like entirely different ball game together. So when it comes to grains or rice or dairy or fresh produce, according to you, which should be the uh, food that people should switch over to organic?
We're talking in non-perishables, is it? Not the fruits and vegetables side.
Yeah, mainly non-perishable.
Okay. See, first, I don't buy the argument that one cannot afford. Like I said, it's more of a perception issue. If we can go to a theater and buy a popcorn worth 250 rupees and a Coca-Cola worth 200 rupees, we can definitely afford organic food. It is just the priorities that we've had. We've been used to growing up. Uh, so we've been taught to bargain with your guy who comes and sells it, and we are taught to spend as less as possible for good food, right? That is been our culture growing up. So because of that, we find it difficult to pay a little more or spend a certain portion of your income on good food. Um, so having said that, assuming you're still struggling with those, but you still want to slowly get into organic food, yeah, on the perishable side, like I said, yes, greens is an easy one. You should definitely get into cauliflower, cabbage, and then on the vegetables, definitely pomegranate and grapes, berries like strawberries and things like that. On non-perishables, you should definitely start with oils. Yeah, you should definitely go for A2 ghee. That's definitely much healthier. You should also go for raw honey. If you use honey, see, most of the honey that's available in the market are pasteurized honey. What that means is they take out all the good stuff. Like you heat it very fast and then you cool it down. So because of that, the honey will flow better and will look better in a shop. But what happens with that is it kills all the good nutrients in the honey, which is very good for health. Um, if you take raw honey, if you get access to it, in Healthy Buddha we sell raw honey. The raw honey is very good for you. That should be something you should definitely go for. Then I would say if you're looking to get in more healthier, you could probably move from white rice to brown rice or millets. You could also think about moving from sugar to jaggery. And one tip I'll personally give to people who are looking to move to jaggery is, see, the thing with jaggery is it's an acquired taste. It will take time to get used to, and especially likes of us who are used to sugar, eating sugar right from childhood. Suddenly moving to jaggery, you won't like it. Like especially me, I love my coffee with sugar. Used to like. Slowly, I moved from. I used to take like half sugar and half jaggery, and then over time, I completely stopped buying sugar in my house. We use only jaggery, and I also have my kids take only jaggery. So that way we can train our kids also right from the beginning to take these healthy things rather than get them exposed to unhealthy things.
But jaggery also like this is one of the most adulterated. Uh,
Right, you need to get it from the right source.
yeah, because jaggery, it's treated, it's bleached,
Correct.
and finding the right, the real jaggery is a big deal now because everywhere
Right.
they will say it should be dark brown in color. That's the real jaggery, but still it is processed in some way or the other.
No, I wouldn't say that. What is important is how is it processed? What is used to process? Like in a commercial, conventional jaggery, yes, they use all kind of chemicals to process it, clarify it. In regular, like in organic one, they use likes of lime or they use likes of uh, okra, lady's finger, uh, uh,
Oh,
for clarifying that. In fact, the farmer I work with, in Puliangudi, he is one of is one award for his jaggery, and is one of the best jaggery I've personally have come across.
okay. Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know about the okra, like
Right.
processing it with okra.
Same with sugar also. Typically, like brown sugar and all the molasses that they add, they process it. How do they do it in organic for the sugar? The same way, they instead of using chemicals, they use lady's finger for that,
Oh,
for
okay,
basically
okay.
processing that.
Mm-hmm. So now it's like a new trend of, procuring your grocery from locally sourced and farm to kitchen or farm to table. I have been, hearing about it a lot since past 2, 3 years.
Right.
How are they different from what we buy from supermarket or a big online retail? And why should anyone care to go and buy from a local market or farmers market or those small eco stores?
See, uh, I wouldn't say you should buy only one source way. We should support, especially in this time, all local companies. Each one is trying to make a difference in a small way. So I wouldn't say you should go only to likes of Healthy Buddha, which is like a farm to table concept. Uh, we, the key thing is you should be comfortable with the company and you should trust the company or the shop who you are working with. You need to be sure their values are okay. They are sourcing it from the right place. Um, uh, so to answer your question on farm to first, what is farm to fridge or farm to table, farm to kitchen, various permutations we have right now. But the basic concept is anything that comes directly from the farm without much touch points in the middle is farm to table. So without much middleman in the middle. So typically that is what is farm to table. But in the shops, you would have at least like 2 exchange of hands before it reaches the shop, or at least 1 exchange of hands before it reaches the shop. And most of the shop, not necessarily all, many in organic side, many shops also know where it comes from. But I would say if you're buying from a shop or buying from someone, you should ask them basic questions like where this lady's finger is coming from, where is it grown, what are they using to grow it, how are they handling pests. So you can ask these basic questions to see how they're able to just see first whether they know such things, to assess whether they're truly selling organic produce or such produce.
Okay. Here we have few questions. This is from Rakesh. So he is asking, how do you spot or identify real organically grown or just named organic? It's basically
See,
the same authentic.
right.
How to identify it? Yeah.
See, there is no shortcut to this. Unfortunately, both of them look same. There is no shortcut as to small size is organic, ugly looking is organic, beautiful looking is non-organic. That's really not the case. It can be both ways depending on how it's grown. So, in fact, what my father used to say is, "Don't trust anybody, trust your tongue." Which basically is typically in organic produce, it tend to taste much better compared to you'll be able to taste the real flavor of the fruit or the vegetable versus a bland taste that will come with non-organic. So that is one way you can do, and other ways is, like I said, you question the source, try to understand. Currently, you can't do farm visits because of the COVID situation, but normally for people to understand, we used to do like farm visits and farmers market once in a while to people get connected to the actual farmers to understand how it works. So yes, there is no unfortunately there is no rule of thumb or a shortcut method that's available for you to just say something is organic or not organic, especially in non-packed items like fruits and vegetables.
Okay. There is one more question from Shakti. So she is curious if you could supply to Gurgaon. So
So
is there any expanding your operations to other cities in India?
Right now, we're still a small company based in Bangalore. We do a little bit in Goa, and we have some presence in Amazon. We're looking to add more products through Amazon, so other parts of the cities can also access it. Other parts of the country can access it. But we also send via courier non-perishables, like
Oh,
Or so if you're interested, you can drop us an email to order@healthybuddha.in. One of my team member can help you out to process it.
okay,
But
that's
currently,
correct.
like local delivery, was what we do. But we take use of the courier services to send it outside Bangalore.
Okay. It was a great discussion, Gautam. Thank you so much for giving us such valuable insights and solutions. Hope we will make the right choice, and it's like health and our food conditioning, they always go hand in hand. We as homemakers, home bakers, and home chefs should make an educated decision while buying. We are aware that there is adulteration, but there are ethical food providers too. Connect with your social circle, research, and surely we will find near our homes who truly care about our health. It is like finding light at the end of the tunnel. Um,
I want to add
so,
one more
friends,
thing before I sign off.
mhm,
See, we didn't talk about the price part. So before I log out, see, one of the most worrying thing in organic is why is it expensive, right? I
mhm,
want each of you in the whoever is seeing this to ask yourselves, why is conventional produce cheap? How are they
mhm,
managing it to sell at such cheap price? Is it even
mhm,
practical? Uh,
mhm.
just think about it, Google it, try to research it, find out. If you find answers, you can reach me on Instagram at the rate PB Gautam, PBGAUTHAM, or you can also email me through Healthy Buddha. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Gautam. Yeah, I will just repeat, why is conventional cheap? Please do Google, and if you find the answer, let Gautam know, let uh, Conscious Baking Collective know. And yeah, we are all in this together, and food is something is which is going to be passed on to our next generation. So do stay tuned for our next session. Also, do join the Facebook forum Conscious Baking Collective if looking for a healthy bake and food connection. Goodbye, stay healthy, be safe. Namaste.
All right, thank you.